Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. My name is Laura. If you're new to the channel, I'm going to do a general message for Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid. Roles could be reversed. Interpret the message as the best resonates with you. Also, note on this channel, I like to dive deep within the readings, so I take more time to look at the spiritual blocks, the shadows, see how they play out as karmic themes. But the readings have more of a therapy style to them. I like to say that because a lot of times it's not about whether a person's going to come back, whether or not they love us, whether they care about us. It's understanding why a person does what they do and why are you attracting that into your life many times when it's a karmic. And so the majority of times we're dealing with karmics. We're not dealing with our twin flame, that one person that comes in and out of our lives and tortures us and is our mirror and, makes us step into the best version of ourselves. It's sometimes, again, somebody that keeps you bound to an inner child lesson that you didn't learn, whether that was feeling unloved, feeling not good enough, and then having those types of karmic themes continue to play out within your life. So, karmics are that. Karmic teaches us how to break karmic cycles that we've pretty much inherited from our ancestors. So, they're much deeper readings. So if you want to enter into a free reading with me, you have to be open to getting a shadow reading because these readings are primarily shadow readings. You also have to be open to getting it live. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't ask me your questions the day before. Send me an email. I don't mind like even chatting with you for a few minutes if I have the time. Otherwise, I just email. Don't take offense to it. I do text. Um, anyway, just so that you understand that, I believe in what's best for everyone involved. That's spiritual law. These are spiritual readings. All right. Elitist. And I look down and I see lies and illusions. Ah, you know, I feel like someone's going through like an ego death right now. Elitist is like means that like almost like only a special number of us have this type of money in this like community or whatever it is, family it could be, but I feel like it's more like community. And so the thing is that at one time your person had a lot of money, had a lot of wealth, and you're meeting a person, the irony is that you always meet people that are on the down spiral of their life. They were once very, very rich, but for whatever reason, they lost their money. They've lost their wealth. So like, they lost who they perceived that they were. So you're dealing with, again, someone that is still pretending to have that wealth. So they might have lost a lot of money through a divorce, a separation, um, a breakup of a business, because of a feud. It could be anything like that. But it's keeping your person like instead of them going out and like becoming themselves, they were like want to like still hide behind this illusion. And this illusion is that they're someone that's still of importance, someone that has that type of financial like power, let's just say within the community, or is seen as that, because I feel like it's a community that shares a lot about what other people have. And that could be, and if a person has to declare bankruptcy, it would be shown in that, in that small town that they live in, like in the newspaper, like just stuff like that. So knowing like what other businesses bring in, and it's like if there's a status there, there's an importance there. So again, I believe that again, this is why this person hasn't come towards you, is what I'm feeling. So let's see what it was like dealing with this person when you were dealing with this person. Like it was like in order to like be with them, you had to like do things on their terms. Like it was like my way or the highway. So it was like almost like you had to feel like you had to give up too much of your power, too much of your time, too much of your energy, and like to like sit there and kind of like wait for this person, to fight for this person's attention. Because I feel like they pretended to be of importance to a lot of people. And I'm not saying that they didn't carry a lot of people, he didn't take care of a lot of people, but he wasn't getting anything back in return. So it's again, so he was like, they were giving up too much of their power. And so, in that, they were taking it out on you. Well, it's about control and dominance, making this person feel important when they don't feel important, and they don't realize that they don't feel important. They've been living from a low consciousness for a long time, where again, they are like letting status, material, things of the physical world that were obtained by a lower consciousness dictate their life, keeping them stuck, like afraid to lose their stuff, where I feel like their freedom is going to cost them all of their stuff in order to get out of a situation. And they're connected to somebody that makes them feel like inadequate, like again, out of tune, like that they're inadequate, that there's something wrong with them, that they don't have enough, that they're not good enough, that they make them continuously gaslight this person, where this person like is opening up their eyes for the first time and being like, who the hell is this person that I have been either married to or in this long-term relationship with, that I have no idea who this person is, because that it's like the karmic. It's like, you're not going to leave me. You're not going to leave me. Yeah, so again, because there's a troublemaker, like just like a win at all costs type of energy, a win at all costs. And so I feel like your person doesn't know like how to deal with this energy. They're ashamed that they don't know how they got into this situation. They don't know how to get out of the situation. They just know that they don't feel safe in the situation, because the person is very not stable. The more that they try to get out of this situation that they're in, so because the karmic's realizing that the person that's connected to you is like there's a really genuine love there, that that you know they've always been able to manipulate. They've always been able to bound them to them, and it's like, and now that it's like they're losing control, the real them is coming to the surface, that is triggering all these inner child wounds that are like all about control, all about manipulation, all about betrayal, all about getting what one wants by dominating, by controlling. And so it just creating trouble, gaslighting. And that's because your person was not awake. They weren't awake to the way that they were being dominated to live and give of their energy to people that weren't appreciating it, that were just keeping them stuck in such a limited mindset. So, in order to live that way, in order to live that way, they had to continuously, well, this it talks about like a lot of different things actually. In order to live that way, you have to be able to, you have to not forgive, because this is all about forgiveness, but forgiveness means so many things here. It's like there's so much betrayal, there's so much when a person lives from where they're constantly manipulating and coming from a low vibration, um, there's no growth, there's no evolution. Things feel stagnant. You know, people feel bored. People then become complacent. They're feeling like they're going through life like on autopilot. And so it's because, again, there's a sense of guilt and shame, guilt and shame, guilt, shame. And so, and what's bound together is really through passion at one time. But that's it, no love. Passion. Passion is dominant. I'm on allergy medicine that makes my mouth so dry. It's horrible. Can't stand it. So forgive me. I will be drinking through this. Otherwise, my mouth feels like it's stuck together. Like, anyway, so for forgiveness. And so there's a lot of betrayal. When you grow up in an environment that's the you see like cheating, you see where like a parent abandons one, whether or not they're there, but they're not there, you know, checked out through drinking, through like any escapism, excuse me, and that could mean anything from adultery to just any real hardcore betrayal where it puts the person in a place of like being bound to a person through shame, through victimization, making them feel as if they are owed it, when really they came into the person's life and created that experience because it was all about dominance. And whenever we come from a place of dominance and confuse lust for love, this is what happens. It's like there's a dynamic of shame and I feel guilty and I need to do it, but I feel like your person is like at this point is awakening to this karmic, and what they're seeing is I should have just asked for an apology from you. I feel like their pride, their ego got in the way. Remember, this person is dealing with a person of a low vibration, of a very low vibration. So they're not of a very high vibration. Part of that is, yes, they're not aware, they're manipulated. They were manipulated. But there's also a sense that, again, they enjoyed that drama. they enjoy that craziness. And which again, it's because they grew up in that environment where it felt normal. So when it again feels normal, they want to recreate that experience. But that experience, again, is you're always coming from a place of lack. Like I said, it binds a person to their childhood wound, if that makes sense. So again, creates a lot of stress because then the person is overthinking and it's all about them learning that they don't really know who they are. So again, why do we get stressed out? Well, then we're coming from a place of fear, not trusting who we are, and not trusting who we are or what we even like because what we grew up with was pain and suffering. However, we can have a connection to somebody that has the same wounds and that we do, but they haven't done any healing. They haven't done any shadow work. So there is a soul tie, but it's not to be with this person, I feel like. And I don't know why I'm getting like such a different type of messages today, like for all my channels. I mean, these are like really deep. And so we have to say, well, then what's the point of the relationship? And what is the person going to do? Because we always want to know what the person's going to do. What would be the antidote? Well, there's a lot of things that we want to know, as we should, because it's again, the person has profoundly impacted our life. And it's like we have to say, why did you come into my life? If you can even step it up to like leave that low vibrational energy because you're comfortable, it's less work. So you're still going to do what you do, which is run around and cheat on the person that you don't want to be with, but then ignoring the soul relationship between you and them. So again, they've like put themselves in this really like horrible energy where I feel like it's a lack of grounded for you. Like connection to the body helps us stay grounded. So you might feel like you're like always behind a computer or feel like you're always inside. So it's about exercising. It's of getting a better connection to the physical body because part of this is that when you feel like you are around to a person that doesn't give you anything, and you're like, well, why do I have this high? Why do I feel like they have a hold on me? They can't have a hold on you unless your mind is also open to them. And that's something, if it's a spiritual connection, you don't have control over. So it's like, not that you're crazy and be like, well, I know that I'm not, well, but understand it's feeding an element of you that you're not doing for you, which keeps you bound to a karmic contract. And that karmic contract is going to be something of lack, something that again is what you grew up with. Could it be self-sabotage? It's where you get in your own way. It's that there's a sense of that. And I feel like there's a person that knows that you're like busy doing on your journey. And I feel like their ego is so big. It bothers them. It bothers them that as they expected you to chase them. So they never forgave. And then they normally don't have feelings. And now they have feelings. So they're pissed off because it's like they've lost control and they've never been put in a position. Mostly everyone bows down to them. So their ego was gigundous. Where it's again, I feel like you don't feel as connected to your job. There's a sense of not maybe feeling as good or as satisfied. Um, so it's like wherever you are, whatever it is that you're doing, you always, if you want to get out of the situation, believe it or not, is to become the best at it. It's just what happens. It's like because once you get better at it, and that might be by learning to enjoy it, and there's maybe because it becomes easier, and that becomes only through practicing. Mastery comes in doing. So there's a lack of groundedness on your part that connects you to this lower vibrational energy. And that is that I don't really feel I can do it myself. I don't really trust in myself. And that could be because you never really tried, or you thought that you tried, but then there were things that you got yourself into and said, well, but your heart wasn't in it. It felt like a job. It felt forced. It felt pushed. And so there's a sense of not mastering one's style, finding one's style. And so when we're connected to this lower vibrational energy, understand it's because we're lacking something in ourselves. It's not because we're that energy. Is we might perceive that that person actually has a gift that could help, but it's again, they would always want something in return and give very little. So it's this scarcity energy where this person, of course, got into this person's life. This person didn't want to be in a relationship. It's like, but they're not strong within themselves. And that's because, and that happens when we become stifled, where we don't learn anymore, we don't grow anymore. It's the same thing every day. It's like Groundhog's Day every day. I feel like it's to become ourselves first. And that's within whatever passion, because your mind can't be in two places at one time. So stress because of, again, how a person treated us. So it's that a karmic will treat us as if we're not good enough, as if there's something wrong with us. So we're seeing very dark energy today. I feel like on both channels. And so this person isn't used of people that speak up. I feel like you speaking up triggered a lot of their wounds because it was almost like, who are you to tell me who I am? And it was like you just didn't care. and and I feel like it hurt this person's ego, but then they also liked it because they knew that it was real. And also that you didn't care, like you didn't care for their persona of being, oh, everybody loves me, everyone desires me, I'm so wanted, I have a lot of money, everyone, like you weren't jumping for that. That there was a real like care, there was real connection. And that's again because you did speak up. I feel like you're a good speaker, but you're very direct. And so it's almost like a slap in this person's face without being a slap in this person's face. So there's like this, it's like sexy tension that goes like back and forth. And that is, it's again, because there's a lot of passion there. Because you are teaching this person doesn't know what keeps their attention. They don't care. They like you show them all different sides of you, especially, if you're interactive in public. Sometimes they'll see you and you don't give a shit about what you look like, and other times you look like a movie star. Like sometimes you show up, sometimes you don't, but you're always consistent. And that might even be in a bad thing, and even in a quirky thing that makes this person laugh. So there's an actual emotional connection where this person normally doesn't have feelings like this. And so that's what keeps them stuck. See, the universe will always bring us what we need, and even if it's just someone for a little time being to help open up the heart chakra. Because what we see here is that the person, again, that's learned to like survive through having closed heart chakra. And again, by building a new life, by creating a new life. So that's what this person is actually working on, because they're in a bad situation right now. And this situation is really because there's very dark energy. And the dark energy is because this person stayed in a lower vibration to please a karmic, even though they didn't really want to. Now, that didn't mean that there wasn't any caring memories, and it doesn't mean that there wasn't, but understand it was not a relationship that this person felt like they created. It was a relationship that was all about what the person that they were with wanted. And so this person began to have a double life. They were never planning on falling in love. They were never planning on leaving that karmic because of, again, what things look like. So they have to, again, realize it's all about letting go of false personas. And again, going within. So you're dealing with somebody, I feel like um, like it's because they're constrained and that they don't really feel that they know who they are. They become very codependent on this energy, and this is how this karmic has so much power over them. It's the codependency, which is done with gaslighting, it's done with manipulation, it's done with this person is finally waking up to this energy, but and understand in the midst of it, there is you where again what they were dealing with you, they were not giving you really anything. It was to kind of keep you constrained, meaning hooked on, but I can't give you anything. But we have this very strong spiritual connection. There's chemistry, there's a want, there's a desire. And it's like because you don't give in and everybody gives in to this energy. So it's almost like it's a challenge. But in this person has began to watch you and compare you to other people. And that's what has made this person like open their heart. Now I feel like they're someone that doesn't emotionally know how to connect. They're someone that doesn't feel comfortable in their emotions. And because of that, there's this person delays and procrastinates and hopes that, oh, just well, you should just come back to me. And it's like I know that we're gonna wind up working it out, but it's like I just wish that you would be the one that comes back to me because I don't want to like it's this person's pride, it's their identity. So again, it's the fear of change, and that's the fear of change of who I like want to be perceived as, who it's letting go. It's actually really letting go of the old. But in that, again, we have to let go of people, situations, experiences that were built on that, that are binding us to that lower consciousness. And so that's why you're like, why am I, what kind of spiritual connection is this? Well, it's a spiritual connection that is based on love. And it is like teaching about forgiveness. And it's, again, forgiveness. A lot of times, first and foremost, we have to forgive family, ancestors. So it plays out within our relationships until healed. That's why it's honor thy mother and father. It says that in the Bible, because if you don't, you will recreate the same karmic cycles, and it's bound together with anger, stress. And that's what happened here. And could have easily happened in your relationship because of the dynamic. It's almost thinking that you can change one. Why would you want to spend so much time trying to change one instead of you becoming exactly what you want so you can attract what you want? Is there the lack of faith? And the lack of faith comes from, not knowing who you are. Now that's you're a mirror of whom what comes into your life. So you may say, like, well, why did I attract this person into my life? Well, again, because of the same karmic experiences that you both grew up in that taught the same karmic lessons. And the same karmic lessons were just channeled out differently, where you became more sensitive, more intuitive, wanting to learn, like evolving. This person has been stuck in a connection for 20 years that bounds them to like a lower state of consciousness of not letting them be free. And that's what they grew up in, having to give their energy to other people, to be the fixer, to be the healer, to be the pleaser is always to abandon oneself. And so we can be manipulated into doing that. That's what we see, like, which, and that keeps us in a place of not believing that we have to first and foremost forgive ourselves. And so I feel like the wound there is on all levels is forgiveness in order for this person to move forward into the relationship with you. They have to like learn the karmic contract, and that's only going to happen by leaving. So we have to say, so what's the point of me with this person? Like, why? What am I supposed to be learning? Well, again, especially if there's a spiritual connection where you're like, this person's essentially not really giving me anything, but we have this connection. Like, what purpose do they hold? Well, this person's going through a dark night of the soul. So it's like they're not, they're avoiding it, but it doesn't mean that they're not going through it, if that makes sense. They're trying to avoid it, but you can never really avoid a dark night of the soul. It's just not possible. You don't, it's like it's a tower moment. Everything in your life that was built from a lower consciousness. And that's again, if someone was dominating you, you were coming from a place of fear or manipulation, and like, I don't really want to do this. And I'm miserable doing this. And it's the person saying, well, no, you owe it to me. You owe it to me. You have to be a stand-up person and do the right thing. Where it's like getting that for a long time, but it's the place where the person's like, but I can't be a stand-up guy or girl because I don't like this life. So I have to get my needs met from going from a lower state of consciousness. When again, this person does, it's not that they don't have feelings, they do have feelings. That's a catalyst to make this person change. Why would this person's energy be on you? It's like they're watching, they're growing, they're learning, they're evolving by the way that you dealt with this situation, I feel like. Because again, there's passion. It's like it's ESP through the heart and mind, but it transcends many lifetimes. It's what did I say? That God is passion, but When I'm talking about passion, I'm talking about creativity most of the time. But this is that passion that this person like longs for you because it's a spiritual long. There's a deep emotional connection that this person's been cut off emotionally from living with a karmic that has taught them that they have to be who they want them to be and that do the right thing. Otherwise, you're a bad person. Do the right thing. Like it's like, how dare you like make me feel unwanted? How dare you make me feel like, especially if they have children, the mother of your child or the father of your children, whatever again is a manipulation tactic where it's like this person is like, we have a past life connection. Memories are surfacing either consciously or unconsciously. That this person says that you feel familiar to me. You feel like home to me. It's like they may not be in your vicinity, but there's a sense of, again, that energy where there's like this passion that's crazy that they're connected to, which is all about dominance and control. And that is, again, how this person is actually unfortunately learning. Again, your inner child needs to come first. Trust that they are part of the plan. So, part of, again, this is all about, what did I say? Healing inner child wounds that bind us to the perception of an experience that we witnessed that was karmic, and that could be seeing a parent not have enough money to support themselves, or seeing a parent's relationship not do well, like there was all drama, or growing up in a dynamic where one parent had all control through emotional manipulation, control, where it was berated into the person that had all the great qualities, but they didn't see that in themselves. And so there was a lack of love for oneself. And so when we grow up in an environment that a lot of times happens, that we are taught that unconsciously. And that because parent wants to teach us abandonment by, again, being so consumed in their own relationship. However, not getting what one needs is what the karmic lesson really is. But so there's becomes an ideal that we need something outside of ourselves to become whole, to become balanced, to become grounded. And so what this is really about, like, I know that I need to be a better version of myself because you won't tolerate anything less. There's an internal knowing, and you're not making me do a damn thing about it. But I have this feeling and a desire to want to do it, where it's like I can tell the difference between what controls me and dominates me, which is easier, and I become complacent and don't have that much energy, to what is stirring a fire inside of me. And that's because, again, this past life connection that you live many, many lifetimes, and there's a lot of spiritual lessons that, again, you both agreed to work out in this lifetime. And so this one just happens to be one that where this person is not a very strong person when you meet them. They're in a place of, lying, cheating, manipulating, and but then the whole while always returning to you. And what this person sees is you are genuine, that you really gave them wisdom, you really cared about them. They never felt that before. People liked them for what they had, and that's because that's what they gave. but they purposely didn't give you anything, and you never cared. You never said anything to them. It's like you said things emotionally, again, that bothered you that they would do. And, saw it as manipulation because that's what the others did, but then realized that you were actually sticking up for yourself, speaking for yourself, which it was, again, I feel like triggering, helping this person wake up, like, hey, like, I don't know what century you're living in or what, family dynamic you're trying to replay with me, but I'm not going to be that person. Peace, peace out. So again, that's the slap across the face. And that's again, this person's like, you're real. I'm accessing past life wisdom. It's helping me understand things with a new perspective, where that there's a whole spiritual thing, but they had to go through this ego death. And this ego death is that I don't know who the hell I was connected to. It's like, but it's like all I know is I'm not happy. And I don't want to be controlled like this anymore. And I don't really care what I have to do to get out. Are you the catalyst to help me get out? Yeah, I have to focus on something. And you're entertaining to watch. Like, you know what I mean? It's like this person is not volunteering to access past life memories. They're getting it because there's a sense of love, unconditional love. Like, you don't care what this person does at this point. You're like, it's been so long, like, I don't really give a shit. Like, and it's like, it's not because you don't care, but you're like, I surrender to what is. Where when we come from a place of needing to forgive, we're not coming from a place of surrendering and realizing what it was just what it was. That there's no big reason why parents feel the way that they do sometimes towards their children, why relationships and family dynamics don't work out like how we envisioned in our head. We have to get out of that illusion. And that's again, we create these illusions of who we also perceive that we are, but that's what keeps us stagnant from really finding our true potential. Because we put limits on things, especially this person that's coming from a fear-based consciousness. So that's why this person is always bored. And relationships always are what fulfilled them, and they got exactly what they wanted. They also sabotage their lives over and over because of it, because it's like it becomes the addiction, it becomes the need. It's what keeps this person feeling like fulfilled, where you know it's the feeling of lack. It has nothing to do with you or whoever they're with. I need to be strong in who I am before I can merge my energy with yours in the 3D. I'm afraid I could lose myself in this relationship because they always have control. And with this relationship, they don't have any control. They don't have any control. This is a past life connection that it's like you both signed up for. And it's about learning the spiritual lesson, but this person knows well enough about how shady they are, how you wouldn't put up with that in a heartbeat, how that they would definitely invest in you because that's the way that they are when they're with someone. They express themselves not through talking, but through giving, through sharing, through doing like acts of service, but not verbally. And it's almost like you needed to hear like verbally when you were younger that you were loved and you weren't. And so you always attract people that have a really hard time expressing their emotions. And the reason why is because they weren't able to feel vulnerable to be able to do that in the environment. So there is a very strong ESP connection where there's a knowing, and this person's like, I totally lose myself. They're like, I'm not strong. This is like a paper tiger, like this person wants you to perceive their one way. So they acted like a jerk, but they're really not that person. And it's like this connection scared them, making them change. So again, like deeper things are going on. We incarnated together to clear specific patterns from our ancestral bloodline. And that's what I'm saying, is then to be like comfortable in an energy that binds us to like our inner child wounds, to the same experiences, that we replay the same experiences. So if you grow up in an alcoholic family, you're going to attract an alcoholic or a narcissist. Reliving the experience of victimization, betrayal, these really like root chakra imbalances. And that's why I'm saying it's like that is what throws us off course. It throws us off course because we're not those wounds, but then we're seeing everything through those wounds and forming habits and behaviorisms that we perceive are going to support ourselves, to give us what it is that we need, which actually it does the exact opposite. But through unconditional love, there's a let me stop and think. Why is this person so irritating? Why is this person have a hold on me? Why does this person, why, what is with this energy that I'm attached to that I can't seem to let go of? It's to understand, it's to help access the past lives. A lot of times it's not even to be with this person, when we come to really think about it, because part of healing is not just, you know, is not just wanting the person and having them act differently. It's for them to, you know, be able to give and take on an equal level. What we see here a lot of times is one person always has to become subservient, and people get caught up in the, redundance, where things have become boring. So there's a want and desire to want to have a union, to want to have that, but also never seeing that. Seeing it was a problem. And then so this person goes into relationships like that. So they emotionally shut down. They never gave anything. With you, they have an emotional connection and they don't know why. They don't have control over it. They're like, I have absolutely no control over like the fact that my mind always wants to be in your energy. It's like there's a comfortability. There was a realness. I didn't realize that this was real. I didn't realize everybody's full of shit because I'm full of shit. I didn't realize that you didn't know that about me. So I showed you this version of me that I've never, like, I overdid it a little bit because emotionally, you go deep. I'm cut off. It's like I haven't felt those feelings. I wouldn't have learned to survive that way. So again, we see this person like changing more on an emotional level. How does a person become emotionally intelligent? Well, they have to go through the experience. They have to know it, especially if they have disassociation, where they've detached from their body and be like, I don't even know what I'm feeling is so deep. And it says that because you're so deep, where it's never just a light conversation, it's a deep conversation of wisdom, of of love, of love. It's a message, whatever it is. And so don't be tempted to disconnect from source. Our connection to source is the love and healing we require for reunion. So this is talking about like a twin flame connection. But what's happening in the time of separation, like from a spiritual perspective for your person. Well, so why you might say, well, I know that I'm connected to them, but it's like, how are they going to be different? They're going through this transformation to become different. They have to actually walk the walk, but there had to be something like big, something that like this person saw spiritually that they didn't see in anyone or anything else for them to actually have this emotional connection because they're very logical, they're very analytical, they learn to live this way to be safe, to not be vulnerable, to not share their feelings. So they have a very hard time in that, but this relationship makes them again go deep. And that why? It's again because source is unconditional love. That's what it is. So there's unconditional love here, which makes the person like actually be held accountable to do the work. I'm gonna pull one more. We need to wait for divine time. Time is healing our wounds and creating the perfect connection for our reunion. So, Spirit again is still talking about healing, like which is what we're seeing in the past like couple of weeks, where we're like, okay, when's the story going to change? And then the Spirit says that like you're in separation from this person. It takes time. There's a lot of wounds. There needs to be a lot of contemplation. This person doesn't really feel comfortable with that. As they never did that. They're entering into this, spiritual realm, which is that there's a very strong 3D connection to you that they don't really understand why they even have, um, which brought them to seeing again, to watching you, to just like almost like stalking you, like as entertainment. And what they saw is that you don't care. You live your life the way that you want to live your life. You say what you want to say. And it's so direct. It's so like it's like where this person has been like I feel like cut off emotionally, spiritually. But we have to say what makes the person actually heal. It's love. And it's the fact that you're not didn't just give in to this person, you didn't care. I want to talk to you, but I'm not sure I'm ready to share everything and give you the answers you deserve, like why they did what they do. But understand again, they feel insecure and it's pushing them to grow, which is what relationships are all about. Is that we don't volunteer, something inspires us. So you inspire this person to actually change, where you're like, where's my inspiration? Where's this person like? You might feel a little bit like that, where Spirit says different spiritual lessons need to be learned from similar wounds, both growing up in the same types of environment where being taught about life from a more fear-based consciousness, which is feeling that one's not good enough, one doesn't have enough because they're actually living with not enough money, not enough and you're hearing this over and over and over and over and over and over. There's a wound of poverty, even if this person knows how to make money. And they might even make money more from a shady way sometimes, meaning they might not pay taxes. They might not, it's again because they're coming from this scarce, way. And then when you're living in alignment with energy that you don't want to be with, that's suppressing you, that that you don't feel well. So you have to, again, kind of create a double life. Well, it's like it's time to get out. But then with that comes an ego death, which is everything that I've created. I have to kind of let go. And that's my identity underneath who am I? Where really at the base level of who we are, we're creators. We're here to create. It doesn't mean hold on to, and that's what is difficult. It's again, as we change, as we evolve, a lot of times we're getting rid of things. We want to downsize. We want to feel more free. We don't want to feel bound to like a mortgage and a big home that we have to clean, especially if our children have moved out. That's not what we want. We want to feel for free and fulfilled, and then meet people that along the way that are going to fill us with passion. And then we are able to actually determine who is somebody that is good for us, instead of getting into a situation where we're just trying to like be loved, focus on love. So really in this story, what spirit is really saying is that, you know, there is a lot of unconditional love between you and this person, but a twin flame journey is there to help you transmute those lower based consciousness, ways that you perceive yourself, ways that you perceive the world, ways that you perceive what love is, ways that you perceive that money is, ways that you perceive whatever the block is, to help integrate the spiritual lesson, to help transmute that. And a lot of times it's first and foremost comes within our ancestrals. Again, when we incarnate with someone through many, many lifetimes, it means that there were wounds. Again, and that's how the person was taught to live. So we form habits and behaviorisms that are in alignment. So if the person feels inadequate, not safe, they do things more, again, in this fear-based, not being able to get out of their own way. And so we see that. Let me just see something. I open this deck yet? No, I did not. I pulled from another green deck. Okay. So this person tends to take a lot of risks. It's like they've outsmarted, people. So they thought, because they always got away with cheating, of not really being that fair, of really not being that honest, of really not being, like, again, coming from this lower base consciousness. And when you're with people over time that do that over time, you see the phoniness, you see the bullshit. You see, again, where this person was living in their ego and not realizing that they were treating all the people that were around them like kind of like second class citizens, even if it was their own family, because they would want to live disconnected. So again, in order to just be like to get fulfilled emotionally, they had to take risks because they're bound to like these people that they feel like are reliant on them. And it's like, and they were reliant on them, but it was at one time based on like good intentions, where this person didn't show that they had good intentions. So that's why things are like actually falling apart within this person's life. And there is a sense of them watching the way that you lived, and they first thought that you were going to be like so heartbroken. And, there had to be an ego death. This person had to look and see how they treated you. They didn't treat you well. So now it's like this person's getting like more, having more and more and more and more anxiety because so much time has gone by. They thought that they were gonna hold back, that they were gonna use time and distance as a way to manipulate you, to stonewall you, to again all the lower consciousness in order to deal with that karmic. They know how to play those games too, where you didn't play the game. And they thought that, you were playing the same game that they were. You weren't. You were like, I'm disconnecting. So now they're like getting really like impatient. And I feel like you're like, I'm way past that. Like you expected an apology. You're like, we have this connection. This is the way that you're treating me. It's like, yes, but that I can't show emotional vulnerability. This person is still on this lower consciousness. So part of them having to change is to come back differently, to come back vulnerable, to come back, and they know that, to expose themselves. So again, there's a sense of, as time goes by, because they wasted a lot of time. And again, it all comes back down to like parents, like what we were taught. It's like being connected to somebody that is like, why is everything so difficult? Like, well, that's the energy here. Like, why do I get people that make things so difficult? Because within is without. And so what you know is what's happening is happening also because you're creating it. So you may say, well, what did they feel about me? At least I need to know what they feel about me first, because I know that that's what I would be saying. If it was my story. Um, even though we might say, I know I shouldn't be with this person, but it's like if I'm the catalyst to help them heal, even if are they going to do the right thing eventually? You know, well, it's to say sometimes yes, sometimes no. It's like sometimes their ego gets in the way, but we'll look at the hidden truths. And I'll only pull three, and we'll move on to your triggers. I wish things could be different. And they can. It's like this person is like, oh, it's like good for me to be like in this victim state consciousness. They do what's comfortable instead of change, where it's again where they think that they can like hide behind this false persona of who they think that they are, where it's like that's not who they are anymore. So again, if they had a business with someone, if they were someone big in town, if they were someone that had any type of status, it's like there's nothing behind it. Like there's nothing, it's like they're not that person. They may be the face of it, is what people may identify with it, but they're only a worker and they don't make enough money. They don't have any money. They're bound to a situation where they once were like the big wig, the sole person. They gave up all their power because they were connected to a karmic, and to that laziness of letting that karmic do their paperwork, whatever it is, knowing too much within the business. And now that karmic is using it against this person, making it very difficult for, again, the person that's connected to you that wants to actually be with you. Say, how the fuck am I going to get out of this mess? That's the energy there. You and I were too young. So I think that's more like spiritually young. Like you were giving this person too much energy at the time. You know, you were undervaluing yourself. So there's a whole spiritual vibe to this, reading of Soulmate Twin Flame. What you're seeing is all like the behaviorism that came because of those deep wounds. But we're also seeing a lot of enlightenment, which is what the twin flame does. It teaches through one's own experiences. We need to let each other go because this person doesn't think that they can. So it's almost like, I'm not going to come to you. I'm not going to come to you. I'm not going to give them to you. It's like, because first of all, I don't trust relationships. People use me. People hurt me. I shut down a long time ago. There was a sense I'm not feeling comfortable to be that vulnerable to you. It's like I'm not strong enough. And they know that. It's like because you require them to show up for themselves emotionally. So though there's this deep passion and love, they want to have a love affair. And you won't have that love affair unless there's like, again, they show up. So they don't like to do that. They like to have the upper hand. And that's what's got them into the position that they are with karmic. Because you can't be in a relationship where you want the upper hand, but you're going to make the person do all the dirty work. And in that dirty work, well, they're collecting evidence over time because you're treating them like shit. And you're not showing up for anybody because you think that you're were too big to fall. It's like where now they're meeting you at a time that you're seeing exactly who they were. So this is a person that does have love, does have passion, is like making them look at themselves, but there in that there's a lot there, So we have to say, well, again, why then would I attract a person like that? Well, I feel like if you're in a transition mode, it's like to help you clear energy, negative energy held on from past perceptions about what you perceive about yourself. And so we look at your triggers in order to do that. It's a little bit different style reading today. I wonder who's showing up spiritually that I'm channeling through. It's almost like very spiritual. We see a lot of internal work. We see a lot of like longing and passion, but it's again, this person has such a big ego. And so they can stay in this situation because of their substances, which it's again, you say, how if they love me? Well, that's the energy right there. It's that this person has avoidance issues. So it's not that they don't love, they do love, but in order to control their emotions, to not give in and to not feel anything, to not have to change, to stay comfortable, to is again, well, I'm going to stay like connected to things that are going to allow me to stay in this low vibrational frequency of not having to look at myself and not have to do the work and, you know, hiding behind the facade. So what if I don't have any money? So what? So what? I'm not going to lose what little bit I have. I'm not going to lose what little bit I have. I'm not going to lose what little bit. There's this energy of fear because of, again, not knowing how to deal with their own life. So that's also why you're not seeing what's going on, like with them, with how they feel about you, because it looks like this person's in full uh, survival mode. And this is how they're seeing it as like complete betrayal. Complete betrayal. And it's like, and I feel like you kind of told them. So again, trust. I feel like you're like, you created major trust issues with me, which is again, it brought up again the trust issues from your childhood. I feel very uneasy in this connection because I can no longer trust you. And that's because it's like, I see you're not a strong person. I see you're not who you are. I see the facade that you hide behind. So I believe that there's a sense that this person believes that you're not going to love them anymore anyway, which is what the real spiritual wound is. It's like the person gets in their own way. They block themselves from love, of not believing that they can have love. So they're always in search for looking for something that's outside of them to like feel whole, to be completed. And the thing is, they tend to be very codependent. And then in this instance, they got together with the wrong person. That I believe came into their life during a transitional time, like where they must have just gotten out of a bad relationship and, slid right on in there and, made it all about them. And your person like wasn't strong enough in themselves. So there was always a need and a desire, but what this person did was like acquire things, put their time and energy towards business that benefited like not just them, but like a few people. And so, as long as those people were getting fed, they were putting up with the bad behavior. But now the feeling of, they have feelings for somebody, they're changing. They want to do what they want to do. Who do they think? We're the ones that put up with this. Who do you think you are? You're not going to take away, whatever it is. And so, like, they stay in this low vibration, always in search for something, but now they found it. And that's the twin flame journey. So but they're realizing I can't be with you the way that I am. I'm a loser. Like, it's like I run around with 4 and 5 people at a time. It's like, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. No one cares. Like, you're actually caring. Like, what's wrong with you? Oh, you really have feelings. It's like, well, wait a minute. Like, this person has been very logical, very analytical, very, and you didn't look at them like that. And they're realizing that you really did care, and that, and like, so this person is very surprised, I feel like, on how you affected them. Memory, I felt I have already lived this before, and it triggers my reaction to the memory, which again is all about like bringing up memories for you of feeling like inadequate. Like, why are you like deliberately rejecting me if it's actually, if this is a soulmate twin flame journey? Well, it's because you're meeting this person on the beginning of their soulmate twin flame journey. They never experienced a connection like this before. It's again, and it's stirring up so many feelings which bring up memories. And so it's the actual spiritual connection that this connection is really built on. So you're not seeing this person really come to you and do anything for you at this time, except for, again, trigger memories for you as well. And then also feeling that search, like, yes, where is this person? But after a while, it's like that becomes boring. It's like you say, why am I thinking about this person that can't show up? So you begin to cut your energy, your spiritual energy, and this person, again, they can feel it because ESP is through the heart and mind. So there's this sense of you made this person look inside of themselves, like they were actually avoiding themselves, really living in an ego, which the karmic was fine with. I don't care as long as you keep paying me. And that's how everyone was. So it was like connected through greed, and even through, like I said, like doing things that were underhanded, but I feel like within the connection, like that could be, again, the business where maybe not paying taxes, that not doing things from a higher consciousness, and then having all the relationships turn rotten because of how this person began to get a huge ego and really get attention where I believe they never got attention before. So there was a sense of not feeling loved before. and getting all this attention, they became like a monster. And so again, that's what I said, being ignored. It's like, and that actually triggered you, where again, remember, you're a mirror of who and what comes into your life, and you're like, well, I didn't make this person feel ignored. No, this person again has that wound, and so, and now what they do is they again just are always in search for again that stability, that something that feels like home, where you ignoring this person actually triggered that memory inside of them, which is what they've done so many times and so many lifetimes before, is what spirit is saying. So again, you're seeing a lot of memories come up where you're like, hey, why am I still connected to someone? And what's the point? Well, the twin flame journey is like there's a lot that happens in separation. This is not a, like a year love affair. This is like a 50-year love affair. This is a 60-year love affair. This is a forever love affair, even if we don't wind up with that person, because there's that constant pull to be with that person because they're the mirror of what needs to be healed within inside of you. And so when we allow someone to like affect us because they ignore us, it means that we're not giving ourselves the attention. When we're in our passions, we're engrossed in what we're doing. So the balance that we create in ourselves is that our cup is always full, where this person just learned to live through, again, material things coming from a lower state consciousness. To move into a higher state of consciousness, they would have needed to have something big. And the only thing that would be big is something that made this person think things differently. And that would have to be someone that is their complete opposite, their complete counterpart, someone that is creative, someone that's intuitive, someone that's emotional, someone that's like childlike, someone that's playful, someone that loves, someone that just tends to have a magic, where this person doesn't have that. Because again, they don't know who they are. So it brings them into themselves, making them look at things differently. So it doesn't mean that they don't have passion, but and that it can't make the connection work out. But it's almost like where they are right now. It's like they still want to hold on to this persona of who they are. And that is not really what they are. Holding on to whatever little bit that they feel like they have left is actually stunting this person to a point that they're feeling emotionally and spiritually suffocating. And so this person is not feeling good over what's going on in their life, because it's not like they have any control and they never saw it coming. So it's like you influence this person, you influence them, and in a way of, I think that how you acted, but it didn't mean that you weren't, that it didn't hurt. And so we asked, what are the inner child wounds? Time and attention, organized chaos, abuse, sing, overwhelm. Well, when we grow up in a family dynamic where there is abuse, bad abuse could be alcoholism, it could be drug addiction, it could be money issues. It could be where you're continually living the same karmic theme. Why, again, we talk about the habits and the behaviorisms that put us in a place of victimization, betrayal, feeling like we're not good enough, feeling like we don't have enough. It's again self-sabotage. Self-sabotage creates this anger and this rage where the family dynamic is like projecting their fears, their anger onto their children. And I feel like you and this person grew up that way. So there was a lot of trauma, and that trauma came out, and that there was no real time and attention that was given to you. The nurturing, the support, the love. What happens is that we tend to go into relationships being the fixer, being the giver, being the with the thought of believing that we're not deserving because we grew up in an environment that made us perceive that. So from living from such a low vibrational frequency, we wind up forming addictions. We wind up connected to people that aren't going to treat us well, aren't going to be able to give us emotional what we need to be able to thrive within the earth, and they keep us in a place of surviving. And in that, it cuts us off from our true potential because our imagination and our creativity is dependent on our spiritual health. And so otherwise we become detached from ourselves. And so yes, we learn to live, but organized chaos is that. It's like the functional alcoholic family, the functional, like whatever's going on, that is the elephant in the room that no one's going to talk about, but everything, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of one person that emotionally is cut off and the other person that's overly emotional, trying to like control the situation. And so the children, again, are not getting what they need. So that is what the mirroring energy is. And really, this person brought that up within you, brought up a time that spirit said, I want you to look at this. And I want you to see how is it affecting your life. And so again, this person did that because they made you overstimulated. The overwhelmed is how you grew up feeling. Again, if you're afraid, you're overwhelmed as a child. You're then trying to survive. So what happened is that you don't have your own voice. You're not allowed to have your own voice. And that's like setting boundaries. It's being able to develop a full sense of self. Instead, the child adapts to whatever the parent projected onto that child. And if that's, again, all their wound, this is what ancestral karma is. This is when, so it's you both inherited the same family karma. There is a spiritual dynamic, but this person is so like counter opposite. They would be that they were fully narcissistic because again, there is love there, but this person like is not really open to giving. There's a part of them that's still very shut down, and that's why again when you feel you're like I don't feel safe with this person, and spirit says yeah, you would be creating the same exact dynamic that you grew up in. So that spirit saying that that's because there's wounds that are attached to those experiences, and those experiences are like again not giving yourself the time and attention to not just sing, but again, God made the world with its voice. You too create the world with your voice by asking for what you need, by being honest. When a person's like too afraid to talk, too afraid to tap into their emotions, so clung on to an identity, a persona that's keeping them bound to like shady ways. Well, of course, this is the energy that you're going to feel, but it's a self-sabotaging energy. And it means that you grew up in an environment where, again, there was a lot of self-sabotaging behavior, and you were taught to accept it. You were taught that that is like was your role, and it comes out in different types of karmic relationships, and that this person is not of a high vibration, that they would want to like control, again, because you would threaten them, like with your, again, the way that you are. So you would always be putting yourself in a competition. The organized chaos is that. It's like when it's a dysfunction. It's a dysfunction, but there's abuse that we're not looking at that keeps you overwhelmed, which makes it very difficult for you to actually create yourself until this twin flame gets the courage to come to you. And we see what it is like that they don't right now. And but it doesn't mean that they don't have feelings for you. It means that they're caught up in their own life. And as they have to go through this dark night of the soul, they have to go through these experiences. And it's about you giving yourself the time and the attention. And that's whatever that is that's going to lead to emotional fulfillment for yourself. And that only happens through finding yourself, because you're attracting that energy that is, a reflection of that experience, that reality that you lived, which there is a comfortness, but the comfortness is not about being with this person. It's about loving yourself by giving yourself the time and the attention. Otherwise, what winds up happening is that we wind up not knowing who we are and going and confusing familiarity as comfortable. Like again, that's what really take a moment to consider the things you don't like about yourself with loving compassion. That's again what the twin flame journey is about in this story. It doesn't mean that, and I don't know why I did that. I didn't plan that this card was going to be there, but again, I can't even see. So I guess you can see. So yeah, I need new glasses. Just can't get into the glasses thing, and I can't do contacts. It's like everything's a fucking issue. When you're sensitive, it's like, why can't it just be easy? Sometimes I don't even feel like, you know, like getting ready. You have to see what I look like on my other channel. I look like I'm going bald. It's very scary. In my previous video, sometimes you just don't care. And it's like you don't want to exhaust yourself. You just want to be comfortable in being you and not on. So again, when we feel that we need to be on, we're hiding behind a false persona. And that means we're not working on ourselves. We're not growing. There's a lack of faith. There's a lack of trust. And we're, again, holding on to what we perceive as success, which winds up being like there's no emotional fulfillment. This person's attracted to you because of that emotion that they feel. But again, it's scary. So it's again for you, it's like, well, they make me feel like shit. And so Spirit says, yeah, and no one should be able to make you feel that way. So your twin flame will trigger the most harsh wounds, and maybe not in this lifetime you'll be together. But there's still a desire, there's still a love, there's still a longing, it's again, you just know that this person is not emotionally there, and that's your language, and that this person is to hold on to the persona of who they feel that they need to be. what you suspect someone is thinking about you is a reflection of your own thoughts or feelings. And that's like what Spirit is saying. It's like, this is like bringing up a lot of emotion for this person, where it's making them do a lot of like introspection because you're real. You're someone, again, that they've never met before. You've influenced their life. But this person is not of a high intelligence where they can be humble and say, wow, you taught me something. Wow, you kind of changed my life because you made me look at something from a different perception. And I have a desire and a love and a want, but I'm not ready for such a deep love. I'm not ready for it. It's like you fell in love with who I could be, and I'm not that person. I'll lose myself in you. And that would turn horrible because of too many spiritual blockages. And there's a sense of you having this inner knowing that they would keep you overwhelmed because of, again, their lack of trustworthy behavior. Remember, in the beginning stages of a twin flame relationship, there's always a runner and a chaser. And that means, again, avoidance of real emotion. So infidelity is always part of that. Just like because this person identifies more with that, you know, egotistical and survival, and even if it's like identifies with their sexuality, identifies with a personas which other people had hated, but they were so caught up in their ego they didn't see it, and their behaviorisms, and here it is that they weren't looking for you. This is like life changing as this person's life is crumbling. It's where they are. You are the boss of your life. You can hire, fire, and promote accordingly. This person is finally saying, like, I need to take control over my life. Like, it's like you have control over your life. You're not afraid. Why am I so afraid? This person's afraid because, again, what they were taught, where you are also taught that. So they're bringing up a lot of this mirrored energy where it's making you feel abandoned. It's making you feel, which is what makes us, again, say, why is it so difficult to be in a twin flame relationship? And it's because it's making you look at things that you wouldn't volunteer to look at, things that take a long time to contemplate. Trauma makes us detach, makes us forget, but those wounds get so pushed into the subconscious mind that we're continually creating the same types of experiences that keep us in a place of limitation. It's not a good thing. It's about loving yourself and believing in yourself and creating the support that's around you by being authentic, by knowing that you're enough, by not, perceiving that you're something that you're not, but just be real. And that's the thing, this person is like, I can't be real. And that's because of the environment that they grew up in. So until they actually do the healing, it would always be like this. And they know that. And they know that they couldn't get over on you. And they lose themselves in you because they really have feelings. And that's so it's, again, the beginning of that twin flame connection when you say, well, why the hell did I have to go through all this? And Spirit says again to awaken those wounds that you have to revisit, to integrate. And that's about reparenting yourself and saying, you are not the traumas that you've learned. You are not someone that, again, you deserve to be loved. You deserve to be cared for, but you have to embody that energy yourself. And that's really what spirit is saying. It's like this twin flame journey is the beginning, right in the beginning. So this person does have past life memories, and they come very easy because their past life was only like 1 or 2 lifetimes ago. But you're in the beginning phases of this twin flame journey, and that again they take a lifetime to catch up, and sometimes it's like this just different levels of consciousness are too still far off. Like you're still coming from a high vibration. You're looking for like an emperor. You're someone that's looking for someone that's serious, that's going to give you love. And that doesn't mean that it's a male. It just means that the person's reliable. They're consistent. They're like again going to make you feel safe emotionally to be who you are, and this person is not mature enough to do that. That's because again don't know who they are. You've awakened things within. It takes time for the twin flames to actually catch up. And so that's why you say, well, why am I attracted? And spirit says, well, it's because it's keeping you bound. These energies. So I mirror the energy that needs to be healed, that needs to be cleared. And the energy that needed to be cleared here was again the illusions of not being loved. But instead of becoming love, instead of giving to like what is familiar, it's what is again that needs to be healed and awakened. But there it doesn't mean that there isn't unconditional love. Is the whole point of this story. So when you say, why is it so difficult for me to let go? It's because again, it's letting go of that identity, that connection to like that lesson is what that family taught you. We're born into families that teach us. Then we create our own family. And we create family that we're going to identify to. And then, so again, there are these darker energies that we just have because we were taught from that environment. But understand that's what's keeping this couple stagnant. That's what it is. So it's more about, again, you wouldn't have, unless the person represented this unconditional love, this pure love, this like, wow, this is really a knowing, this is a really deep love. Wow, this is a real like, recreate the scenario of you saying, well, I needed to feel that love and you didn't, you rejected me. And it's like that created the same dynamic. You were supposed to love me. You were supposed to change me. You were supposed to, and so I feel like you didn't with this person. And you chose yourself, where this person is bound to a situation that they have to get out of, that they have to again do the actual spiritual work. And so again, the catalyst to fire is again passion. It's like, so the fire from passion stirs it up. But again, we're in the beginning stages of this twin flame journey. So maybe only a few lifetimes. Maybe like I'm feeling like 3 you incarnated, but that's a lot for this person because they're not very evolved. Where you might have wisdom from, connecting with other souls along the way within your life. But the twin flame journey is again a lot of times so difficult that it can't, it draws you to become your best self. It really does. That that sometimes we just want to relax. Sometimes we don't want to be with someone that we can feel like can read every little thing. And so it's really an intense relationship. When things are good, they're really good. When things are bad, they're really bad. And it's always revisiting the same, karmic themes until you learn them. So there is love. Obviously, we wouldn't stick around, but it's like to be able to understand why we're bound to these people is to understand why we need to, what we need to heal within ourselves. Because you can understand something logically, but there's still a disconnect, like physically, like we have to actually physically understand. Otherwise, there's a disconnect. And that's what we see like here. All right. So I'm going to pull one more card, and that, like I said, I don't know why the readings were so different today, but I guess the spirit is guiding me. So you let me know how you like this version. Always trying something new. I'm not in charge here. I'm just a conduit for spirit to speak. Um, Trust. That's what it's all about, trust. And it's not easy to find that trust. It's like it's not, especially if you were brought up in an environment to believe that you were not good enough, that you weren't worthy, that you weren't loved, that you weren't. Again, there's a real fear, but the truth of the matter is the most important lesson is to love yourself. And when you give to yourself, the universe shows you love, shows you support, shows you caring, does come through for you, but you have to show up for yourself. And that's really difficult when we have spiritual blocks. Elevation. I free myself from fear and trust the universe. I direct my thoughts to the beauty inside and around me. I use my spiritual strength and knowledge to create light, and I rise above all doubt. So it's again, you're in phase of evolution, like healing, shedding certain spiritual elements of you, which is what the twin flame journey does with the fire, with the passion of, oh, there's a desire, there's a need, there's a want of uh, impatience of wanting and needing to be with this person, but it's so that you'll look at yourself. And so, again, you'll want to be the best version of yourself because this person is your counterpart. So, where you have blocks, they have wounds. Where no, where they have wounds, you have gifts, and vice versa. So, allergy medicine, horrible, makes you so thirsty. Um, all right, so yeah, through like elevation. So it's all about helping you rise like Phoenix from the ashes, per se. So you're meeting someone that is on the way down, is crashing and burning, but the love and the desire and the passion for life, the wanting to be different, the wanting to live a different way, but not knowing how. And the person's so uncomfortable. They're like, I'm living this way, but I hate my life. I'm so uncomfortable that the universe says, okay, it's time. It's like, and I'm going to do a lot of different things to create the destruction of your life so that you can evolve, so that, and not anything that's not built on truth. And what this person is seeing is that you're like the only person that like this person built a relationship with, and it wasn't because of them, it was because of you, that you were different, that you were real, that your conversations with this person were real, like you taught them, you cared about them, you nurtured them, where there was a kindness, a gentleness, a compassion, a love that was unconditional. And that was therapeutic. That's what they've never had before, where they were like, oh, like almost like now I feel like I need to protect you because I think that, oh, like you were real. Now I'm nervous when really it's like you need protection from them. Like because they're not there yet. They still would want to like control and protect, but like love where it would be smothered. And it's because again, the fear of like them like being inadequate, you leave it because that has been the karmic theme. So, I mean, they still need healing, but it's again, they're doing like the work in this lifetime for that. And that's why there is such a like a strong spiritual connection. Now, can it happen in this lifetime? Sure. A lot of people say, I already know that it's like I see the red flags all over it, and I'm gonna do it anyway. I mean, we all have, free will. That's why I try not to predict, because again, the spiritual blocks are, I mean, that you're not going to predict a good life for yourself because you haven't worked through. This channel is more about creating awareness to help you understand what the spiritual blocks are. Why are they playing out in such toxic ways within our relationship? Why are we attracting people that are in other relationships? What's happening and in the world? And really spirit saying it like it is their spiritual help, and the universe is actually at hand in this story, in the twin flame connection. Yes, unfortunately, you're like, well, I'm the one that gets hurt. This person like finally awakens to the fact that they have feelings for me. Well, again, yes, that's not their strength. But on a logical level, they looked for things that were wrong with you and they couldn't find anything. They actually were like, wow, what you see is really what you get. Wow, like, when does that happen? That doesn't happen. That doesn't even logically make sense, you know? It's where everybody's full of crap. It's like, so I can be with 4 and 5 people. You never like have like an emotional connection with anybody. So I can stay in this lower consciousness. I wasn't looking for anyone. Where again, this person was always like, again, coming from a place of strategy and playing games, and what happened is that there's consequences for their actions because they were living from like a very like ego perspective, which is just only about them, only what's going to satisfy them, kind of being like glutton. So not dating one person, dating like 10 people, not like going out to dinner like one night or going out to dinner every single night, and maybe going out to lunch and breakfast and living a very extravagant life and letting people know that they were living an extravagant life. So really living from their ego because of the lack that they felt and in their own life. So I know that this has been a really long reading, but it's to understand that there is love, spiritual overrides logical and analytical, which is, I don't know why I love this person. And it's because you love all of yourself. There's aspects of you. You just haven't learned how to love. And so this person comes into your life as the mirror. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave. You let me know how you liked this style. I don't know who came through. It could be like, who knows, Aunt Betty or something. Like that I just channeled. I don't know why. I mean, I'm on a lot of allergy medicine right now, and I'm still not wheezing, but like in the morning, I'm still like wheezing still. It's been like 3 months where I'm like, it's unheard of. I don't know what's causing it, but it's like I'm thinking about really going to a pulmonologist just because I got a good lung x-ray, so I know that there's nothing wrong there. But it's still like, why the allergies? What's changing? Why is my sensitivity over responsive? I shouldn't need to take all this allergy medicine every day in order to not wake up wheezing. It's like a very like, again, like I'm trying to clear things. Well, again, and my husband just passed away, and lungs do represent grief. So integrating grief um, is not an easy thing to do because you actually have to feel grief. And I was disassociated for a long time. So I can go into the psychic realm very easily. However, it's to actually like ground and work through our own stuff, right? It's to be able to see things, to be able to see the seer from a different and higher perspective, is what the wounded healer was taught. And as a wounded healer, I became a master psychic healer, which helps people heal the effects of their trauma and explain why it plays out in their relationships the way that it does. Now, again, if you like this sound, you let me know. But you know what? I don't know whether I'm going to be able to do this style ever again. So again, it might not matter, but maybe it will matter to the spirit. All right. Again, I can't speak for him. I'm just the conduit. All right, guys. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.